The reason you're not closing 90% of your sales calls isn't your script. You're selling to the wrong part of the brain. You're talking about what people should do instead of who they want to become. If you've ever heard, "Let me think about it," or "I just need to talk to my spouse," or you just got ghosted after what felt like a perfect sales call, this video is going to change how you sell. I'm Christian Polk, and I've done over 7,000 sales calls and closed over $8 million in sales. And I'm going to show you the one shift that took my close rate from 30% to over 70 to 90%. Let's get into it. So most closers stay stuck at 30% because they focus on what people need to do. What are your goals? What do you need to fix? What results do you want? That is surface level. And people don't buy based on logic. They buy based on identity, who they see themselves as. That's why logical closers lose deals, why emotional closers make all the money. Every person sees themselves as two people, okay? Who they are right now and who they want to become. If your call doesn't bridge the gap, you will not make the sale. Now, this is important. The human brain has 3 layers. We have the primitive, this is the thinking, logic, reason. We have the mammalian with the feeling and emotion, but the deepest is the reptilian part of the brain. This covers instinct, survival, and identity. Understand the deeper you go, the more powerful your influence. Most salespeople talk to the thinking brain. Elite closers talk to the instinctive brain, the part that decides who someone is. Nobody needs to convince an alligator to bite. It's just what it does. That's its identity. When you sell to that part of the brain, resistance disappears. Now let's talk about what's actually happening on your calls that you're not seeing. Starting with objections that are smoke screens, not real problems. People tell you what is safe to say, not what is true. So you have to watch for energy shifts on your prospect, not just the words. Because understand, resistance equals misalignment between their identity and your offer. When they stall, they're protecting something. And your job as a closer is to get beneath the surface level story, and you need to ask yourself, what are they really afraid of? Stop taking their first answer as a final answer. Let me give you an example. If a prospect says, "I need to think about it," most people are going to hear that and think legitimate objection and back off. What's actually happening is they don't see themselves as the person who makes the decision yet. Even when you drop the price, their energy dropped when you talked about pricing. That's the real signal. You didn't lose them on price, you lost them on the identity misalignment. But here's the thing, you can't see through this behavior if you don't understand what's driving it. And that's where identity comes in. The fact is, people don't buy solutions. They buy new identities. Every decision people make either protects or upgrades who they see themselves as. I can't afford it equals this doesn't fit into who I am. The prospect has 2 identities, their current self and their future self. The tension between the two equals the buying window. Listen for identity markers in their language. Ask, who do they want to become? Sell to their future version, not the current one. So let's say a prospect keeps saying, "I'm not sure if this is for someone like me." That phrase equals identity conflict playing out in real time. Their current identity is, "I'm the type who figures it out alone." Future identity equals, "I'm the type who invests in myself and gets results." Your job is to validate their current self, truly understand it, paint the future of their future self, and you need to be able to create a bridge between them. Now, let me show you what this actually looks like in real life situations. For example, example number 1, let's talk about weight loss. You're not selling a fitness plan, you're selling a dad on being the kind of father who sets the right example. Through your questions, you find out that he wants to lose weight because he doesn't want his son to be overweight like he is. That's an identity. He wants to be a good father. Right now, he's not living up to that. And if you show him the gap between who he is now and who he needs to be, it's very difficult for him to give you any objections. Why? Because he's not deciding on a weight loss program, he's deciding on what kind of man he is to his son. This will make you rethink how you've been selling. Let's go example number 2, business opportunity. You're not selling a money-making offer. You're selling freedom to someone who's terrified of being average. And for me, that's what got me into sales. I was deathly scared of being average. And the identity of being someone who is free, that's what pushed me forward. When you find that internal identity in your prospects, you'll never have to fight on objections. They'll sell themselves on becoming that person. Here's how you actually communicate in a way that resonates. First of all, you need to mirror their language, not yours. You use their language, not your own. Reflect back their pain before offering a solution. Use their exact words when describing problems. And when you're talking, you need to slow down because being understood beats being impressive. Validate their emotions without dismissing logic and create space for them to convince themselves. And you need to stop pitching and start guiding. Make the prospect the hero of the story, not your product. If someone told you, I've tried things like this before and they didn't work, a weak rep would respond, but our program is different because this and this and that. A strong rep's response is, it sounds to me like you invested time and energy to something that let you down. What specifically didn't work? I'm asking the question, but also you're mirroring back their exact concern, making them feel heard first, then you can solve the problem. Now, they'll actually listen to when you explain how this is different. All right, so how do you actually use this without sounding weird in your sales conversation? There are two moments to use this, during discovery and during objections. So how do we use it during discovery? After you understand why they're there and what their problems are, you bridge into it like this. Look, you can have the best plan in the world, but if your mindset doesn't change, what type of results are you gonna get? They're gonna say, not great. You say, exactly. This isn't just about a plan, it's about becoming the type of person who follows through. Would you agree? It's very important that you ask the question at the end. That's your bridge. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna dig into who they are now, who they wanna become, and what happens if they don't make the change. The gap creates urgency. Now let's talk about during objections. Move away from the problem and focus on who they are choosing to be. You're gonna say this, I get it, making the leap is scary, but you're not deciding whether to buy a program or not buy a program. We're deciding on the type of business owner we're going to be. That line reframes everything. Insert whatever identity fits on what you sell. All right, now that you understand how to see through this behavior by recognizing objections as protection mechanisms, how to actually decode identity, and how to communicate in the new way that makes anyone feel understood, but there's still one truth that you need to know. Even if you understand all of this down to the slightest detail, there's a massive difference between understanding something and being able to implement it effectively on live sales call when money is on the line. That's exactly what I teach inside my Precision Closers Mastermind. And if you want to take what you learned today and actually turn it into a skill that makes you money, click the link in the description and let's get you trained the right way. Otherwise, if you want to really master sales and learn everything you need to starting today, click here to actually check out my full 8-hour training where I go over everything you need to know to start making more money in sales right away. See you next time.